This is Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Caloni. Tonight, at least 17 people fear dead after two vehicles collided at Peki, Chibu in the Volta region. And the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is demanding the immediate abolition of the double-track system and the resetting of the academic calendar across second cycle schools to the previous three-term system.
We are calling on government to immediately reset the timetable and revert to the three-term program that we run.
On Joy News Limited series Dialysis Crisis, kidney patients needing dialysis to survive say the over 100% increase in the cost of dialysis will prematurely push them into their graves.
Economic conditions now, so I have to beg before I get money for my weekly dialysis at this private facility.
It's great having you here on Joy News Prime. Now we begin with some sad news where at least 17 people are feared dead after two vehicles they were traveling in collided at Peki, Chibu in the Volta region at midday today. My colleague Peter Seno was on the scene of the accident and filed this report.
At midday on Wednesday, a big bus from Chinderi in the Oti region en route to Accra collided with a minibus at Peki, Chibu. Eyewitnesses say the minibus veered off its lane because the driver was swerving potholes on the stretch. Unfortunately, the minibus crashed into the big bus, killing some passengers. Severed human body parts littered the accident scene. It took a combined team of police and fire service personnel to clear the road for traffic to flow. Some survivors on board the bus spoke to Joy News.
Yeah, question there. Yeah, full bus. I question there. Nti ya ban over no so e wa ya ni mu a oba. Ye be won say over na be cross car no. Ya car no. Ama ya car no a twi over no. A why over no car akopto phone.
We boarded a bus heading to Chinderi. On our way, an urban crossed our bus. I'm not entirely sure if the urban driver was attempting to overtake us, but our driver tried to give way to the urban, and as a result, our bus ended up in the gutter. One person is dead. The driver and the injured passengers have been transported to the hospital.
We were heading home from Accra. I had been asleep. When I woke up, I noticed the car was in a ditch. I quickly exited the bus, so I'm not entirely sure what led to the accident.
Away from that sad story. Now, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is demanding immediate abolishment of the double-track system and the reset and reversion of the academic calendar to the previous three-term system. In 2018, the government introduced the double-track system in response to the overwhelming demand for second cycle education following the rollout of the free senior high school policy. But addressing a press conference, President of NAGRAT, Angel Kwabena, insists that the double-track system has brought untold pressure on school administrators.
With the introduction of the double track, the government promised that the double track program was going to take a maximum of 5 years, by which time the Ghana Education Service Trust Fund will provide physical infrastructural facilities to be able to accommodate the increasing number of students in our schools. It's been some 7 years moving forward, and over 40% of our schools in this country still run double track programs. The double track is brought about its attendant challenges and problems, especially to teachers. One, teachers in schools were teaching across tracks. And as a result, most teachers in the senior high schools did not have holidays or rest periods. And even now as we speak, the double track as it was started is not the type of program that is being run. Now what they are running is a system where one class, a full class of Form 1 students will be in school, then Form 2s will be at home, Form 3s will be in school, Form 1s will be at home, and so on and so forth. And as a result, for a very long time now, teachers have not had rest. It is not only teachers who have not rested. We are also talking about administrators and managers of education, the headmaster, the headmistress, the housemasters and housemistresses, or the house staff in general will have to be in school to superintend over students who are going and coming. The third unfortunate group of people who have not had rest at all is our domestic service. Those who take care of our kitchen and our dining halls, who will have to be in school all year round to manage the students. This situation is put untold and undue pressure on the staff of our schools.
Mr. Kwabena added that teachers, as a result, are spending a lot on their health, and thus the demand reversion of the school calendar to the previous 3 terms.
We are running right now is putting untold burden on our teachers who are regularly going to the hospital for care, who are beginning to spend huge sums of their meager salaries to cater for themselves. And there is also lack of certainty in our schools for us to know that school term begins. And all of you here, in time past, we all knew when schools were going to reopen and when schools were going to vacate. So parents, students, teachers could also plan their lives both in their professional work and their domestic work. We call on the Ghana Education Service to revert the school term to 3 terms, change the period from 1 hour to 40 minutes, and ensure that we have schools based on the promise they made that the double track was going to end within 5 years.
Still on education, the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat says it may not be able to process new scholarship applications if the Ministry of Finance fails to approve its request for a new funding framework for the scheme. Now, the Secretariat argues that pre-existing beneficiaries of the scholarship have saturated the budget of the scheme, hence the need for a new source of funding for the Scholarship Secretariat. Registrar of the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, Kingsley Ajiman, has been speaking to Joy News' Blessed Soga on these and other emerging concerns that the scheme is fraught with favoritism.
How do you say somebody has come to decentralized scholarship and still think that that person is promoting chronism and skewness? I mean, especially when you are hearing it from high-ranking people, parliamentarians, even our party people. My party brought me here, and even the opposition. It kind of beats my imagination. But I've set up a district scholarship review committee for local scholarship, which has the district chief executive, the member of parliament or his or her rep, a member from the traditional authority that is dominant within the district, 2 people from our office here, and a rep from a tertiary institution or a GES district at the district level to do some form of assessment or validation before it comes to us. And you are attacking me of nepotism. I come from the Eastern region. I come from Chebi. If somebody, there's a name that comes from the district assembly in Gonja or Elembele. Do I have relatives in Elembele? I don't have my family people coming from Elembele. I don't have them coming from Ashanti region. I'm from the Eastern region. I'm from Chebi.
What plans do you have for 2023? It's almost ending though, but I'm sure that you have some openings for students And feeding into that plan as well, are you mindful of the economic situation, the fact that many more parents would want their children to come for some help from the Scholarship Secretariat because inflation is up, the purchasing power has reduced, as you're pointing out. What plans do you have for this year, although it's almost ending?
Okay, so we have started the process for the next year budget. Like I did mention to you, the budgetary process and the constraints that comes with it.
Right.
Understanding our liabilities now, if our estimates that will be presented to the Ministry of Finance when they look at the overall picture, if you don't get it, it will be very difficult to service new applications. What that will mean is that our preoccupation next year will be to deal with the existing liabilities or the debt.
Continue to
pay off. If you don't get up to a certain amount, there may not be new opportunities.
In percentage terms, what are you asking the finance ministry
it's not been finalized now.
Right.
It's not been finalized
now. You
now.
Want an increment?
Not just an increment. We need to change the whole fundamental.
Right.
Yes, because if it's just an increment, we'll be talking about maybe 1,000%. We want to change the architecture.
In terms of the funding allocation?
The funding allocation.
Right.
And again, we are asking for things like we having a concession with the BOG so that when the forest goes up beginning of certain, it should not affect us. Because we buy like any other institution buys. So these are the mitigating things, depend on the outlook that comes from the Ministry of Finance. Whatever that comes, if that is not enough to sort out the existing liabilities, means that new opportunities will not be opened for scholarship next year. Because we have to understand where we are now. It is not good enough to award scholarships and not be able to pay the liabilities. It provides us with a lot of headaches because the least that this government will want to see a Ghanaian stranded outside thereabout. So
now joining us by phone is Peter Nocho Kotoi, Ranking Member, Parliament Education Committee. Do you also believe that the funding mechanism for the Scholarship Secretariat is not sustainable and that if nothing is done, new applications will not be processed?
Very much and good evening. Sorry that my Zoom is not working. You know, the Scholarship Secretariat was established during the days of the first president of the Republic, Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to award scholarships to deserving Ghanaians to pursue outside the country courses and programs that were not available in the country but needed for the development of the nation.
Okay.
That was the rationale behind it. But as we have it today, it is not what it was meant to be. If you look at the quantum of scholarship awarded and the various programs and courses and subjects, you wonder why those programs that are in the country, something like a first degree program which are available in this country, scholarship should be awarded for it. So you will realize that they have even over-awarded scholarships to students who even didn't deserve it. And that's the challenge it is having. You know, it is directly under the office of the president. So it doesn't come under the supervision of the Committee on Education or the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
So their budget is part of budget of government machinery. So the challenge is that when monies are allocated, the programs for which the scholarships are awarded are programs that can conveniently be pursued in the country.
Okay.
So if we continue to do that, I don't think the program will be sustainable. So for me, I've been thinking that that Scholarship Secretariat has outlived its usefulness because GetFund is doing very well. So why don't we push these programs to GetFund? Because as for GetFund, when you go there, you apply. They will scrutinize you very well before they award you scholarship to study overseas. So it is because we are not managing the Scholarship Secretariat well That is why they are running out of funds. And I know that some universities outside this country are no longer ready to receive or accept letters from a Secretariat in Ghana promising that they will pay fees for students who have been granted admission or offered admission in those institutions. That's what I know so far.
All right, so this is a major concern. And what measures will you people take in Parliament, I mean the committee, to draw the attention of the Finance Ministry to this particular thing so that we're able to award those deserving students?
I remember my chairman of the Committee on Education invited the Scholarship Secretariat, the director, to appear before our committee. And my information is that he said he's not accountable to the committee and accountable to the president. So we are only waiting for their budget to come, and then we'll inform, or we have informed the Special Budget Committee, which deals with the defense machinery, that this is what is happening with the Scholarship Secretariat, and they must look into it very well before they grant any or approve any funding for the Scholarship Secretariat in the next budget, because they are not doing well. And you can hear, I'm sure you heard of the allegations of corruption going on there. People are being asked to pay 70,000 Ghana cedis before they are awarded a scholarship. So there are a lot of issues that will come up on the floor of the House for discussion.
All right, finally, before I let you go, we know that the Education Committee in Parliament has requested for more transparency from the Scholarship Secretariat in times past. Did you get sufficient responses from them?
No, we did not. And because they feel that they are not under the offices or supervision of the Education Committee, maybe that's why they are not ready to do so. But I'm saying that we are going to collaborate with the Special Budget Committee and make sure that they appear before the committee and then tell us why and how they have been awarding the scholarships and the disbursement so far.
All right, thank you so much, Peter Nocho-Kotoi, the ranking member on the Committee of Education in Parliament. We are so grateful for your time. Now, from education, let's shift our attention to health, where a 54-year-old woman living with a kidney condition, Georgina Apia, said the decision of the Kwabena Teaching Hospital to increase the cost of dialysis from 380 cedis to 765 cedis is likely pushing persons living with kidney conditions into early grave. Now, she says she has been crying since yesterday after the facility published the increase.
I started getting the symptoms of a kidney condition when my daughter was in the first year of university. Even getting food to eat is difficult. I have to beg before I eat. My mother, who used to support me too, is also blind now. I don't have any helper. I used to sell fish at the fishing harbor and used to get support from my friends, but not anymore. You know the harsh economic conditions now, so I have to beg before I get money for my weekly dialysis at this private facility.
First time it turned down one fishing about. Never framing now for fun and almost to and the crack. No, mamma, me. It's any moment we said again, I had the alpha. Into a beer, one anyhow. The mistress and I'm in your beer. I'll be the upper once a week. Let me the upper.
Now, her daughter, 26-year-old Stella, also says she was shattered by the news after the Kwabena Teaching Hospital published the increase.
It was, so I woke up at dawn to pee, and then I took my phone and I saw it on Snapchat that one influencer had posted that cost of Kwabena had been increased. And it was a big blow to me because things have been tough, and even getting money to go to this private facility, and then we were all also hopeful that Kwabena will be opening and resuming so that we go back and then at least some of our costs to be cut. And then I wake up at dawn and I didn't know how to tell my mother at that time, so she found me crying like early morning, and she asked what's happening. I told her that Kwabena, that's the idea. And so say at least they would open and then it would save us. Because even bringing my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week, I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom. I'll call church members, I'll call friends, and then they'll contribute and I'll bring her. And so we're really hopeful that Kwabena will open and then ease our troubles a little. And then I wake up at dawn and I see the prices being shot up to 765. The first question I was asking myself was, if government sector is charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices. Yeah. I mean, to match up the price. So it was a big shock. It's been a big blow. The whole of yesterday, I haven't been myself, because then it means we can't go back to Kwabena. We would have to keep maintaining coming here. And my mother cannot even get the twice a week, which is affecting her some way, somehow.
Yeah. So how do you raise the money to bring her?
Friends, my church members. That's how I raise the money, because I'm not working. I do makeup business on the side, but it's just basically the money. It's just something I just used to support my mom in the house with food, water bills, and other stuff. So right now, I don't even have 100 cedis to say that I have. Even today, coming here today, it was because of help from church members and friends that contributed and sent me money, and I was able to bring my mother. Even with that, this week I'm not sure I can bring her twice, because we are trying to save money so that next week at least she'll get it once a week. I really want to tell the government that they should really do something about it for us. We need more sponsors at Kwabena, and then we need the price to be reduced, because at least if someone is helping and the price is low, it could cover at least the 2 sessions. But if 765, I feel it's a lot. If they could watch and do something about it, the government should step in and help, because fine, we know that they are not responsible for these sicknesses, but I don't think that these people, my mother for instance, didn't choose to be sick. She didn't choose this situation for herself. And so with all these hardships, and every week I have to raise 920 cedis or 820 cedis every week to bring my mother for dialysis. Even if I'm working and I'm being paid 6K a month, I won't get that money. I won't get that money to come and pay. So the government should really try and do something to help us. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the public relations officer of the Kwabena Teaching Hospital, Mustafa Salifo, says the hospital will be forced to shut down its dialysis center if it does not increase the cost of treatment from 380 cedis to 765 cedis. He said the removal of tax exemptions and high import duties are responsible for the new charges.
So really, if we do the real analysis of the cost, you get to about 850 cedis. Previously, it was down because some of the variables were actually being taken care of by the state. But now we have had to pay for everything ourselves, and all those things are factored into it. Now, we used to clear these items. We used to get tax exemptions when we are clearing these items. But now you have to pay for the import duty and other taxes that are related to it. So if we still want to run as we used to do previously, it means, I see my brother, in the next couple of weeks or several days down the line, we'll have to shut down the unit.
In other words, if you do not increase the cost of dialysis, you'll be left with no choice than to shut the dialysis unit down entirely.
That is a hard reality that we have to face.
And you say it's primarily because, one, the cover you get from the government is no longer there. You're now having to do full cost recovery. The tax exemptions have also been removed.
Yes, tax exemption is no longer there. The cost that we get, these are imported from Europe. The cost of the kit has gone up, and then the cost of virtually all the inputs that we use to do this to provide these services have gone up. So, and we are not doing this to actually make profit. We want to provide a service to patients. So what we have done, as I mentioned, when we did a real actually assessment of the cost, taking all the inputs that we need to buy, we need to procure to provide the service, it comes to about 850 Ghana cedis. But we need to cushion the patients a bit. That's why when we did analysis, we realized that if we leave it at the 765.42, that is something we can manage to keep the service going.
Meanwhile, management of the Sawla-Bawboi Teaching Hospital has backtracked on the increase of the cost of dialysis. In this statement, they made that clear. So it says that this is to inform the general public and our patient that a price review proposal presented to the renal dialysis unit is yet to receive consideration and approval by management of Sawla-Bawboi Teaching Hospital. Any proposed fee will be forwarded to Parliament through the Ministry of Health for approval. It is only after the due parliamentary approval that any revised fees will be implemented. He goes on to say that the hospital management appreciates the challenges confronting renal dialysis patients. We will continue, as we have done over the years, to collaborate with stakeholders and philanthropists to help subsidize dialysis reagents and services for the treatment of many patients. Now, an outstanding example of this is the First Sky Group, which has provided free dialysis services over the past 8 years, with more than 200 patients benefiting yearly, a gesture that has tremendously improved the survival rate and quality of life of our renal patients. Management will continue to keep the welfare of our renal patients at the center of any discussions, and we welcome any other support from public-spirited individuals or organizations in this regard. Until the parliamentary approval is granted, the old price will be maintained for our dialysis services. Thank you, and it's been signed by the management of Sawla-Bawboi Teaching Hospital. We'll take a break. We'll return with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now, to some politics. Alan Chermanton has disclosed that he faced significant challenges in securing the necessary funds and resources to fulfill the government One District, One Factory initiative during his tenure. Chermanton, who has recently resigned from both the government and the NPP to pursue an independent presidential bid, expressed his frustrations in an exclusive interview with Evans Mensah. He explained that the inability to secure sufficient funding was a key factor preventing the successful implementation of this initiative.
You have said, and I've been asking you about your contributions, because you were part of the system. You were saying you were raising these issues you wanted to, but you didn't have enough traction there. You've said in your press conference that you now are at a place where you're convinced that system you were part of no longer appreciated what you had to offer. But the evidence suggests otherwise. This is a system in the party that gave you an opportunity to serve as a trades minister. That is definitely appreciating you as an individual and what you bring to the table in country the agenda for change, at least from the MPP's point of view.
But I think you're missing the point. Let me just illustrate it. So, as individuals in a party, in government, my belief is that we need to prioritize, let's say, industrialization or private sector development. I mean, the basic principle in economics is that you operate on the principle of scarcity and choice. So you have to prioritize. So you deploy resources in line with your priorities. My sense is that for a country like ours, for us to be able to transform our country, let's say we need to prioritize industrialization. Now, if it doesn't happen that becomes the dominant view, let's say in the party, for example, or in government, then it makes sense for me to pursue an ambition to occupy the highest level of executive authority that allows me to prioritize what I believe will bring about the change and transformation.
So, but you were
that
part of a government that made industrialization a priority.
Yes.
That put you in charge of executing what one time you believed to be one of the boldest agendas to industrialize, one district, one factory. So how do you say then that you didn't have enough traction around the vision that you had? That definitely was one that you were in charge of executing.
But Evans, I don't think you are listening to me, or you are listening but you are not understanding what I'm saying. I'm talking about prioritizing the deployment of resources to be able. I champion.
That you champion.
Yes, I champion.
Yes.
So it didn't mean that.
You say you didn't have the resources.
But that's clear. And I'm suggesting to you that if you have a governance structure with different priorities.
Watch out for the full interview at 9 p.m. on PM Express here on Joy News. Now let's take you to the upper part of the country. Almost 7 months ago, medical doctors at the West District Hospital depended on mobile phone touchlights to conduct medical surgeries at their theatre. But the problem has been fixed following a Joy News report highlighting the plight. Edward Wachi Trust Fund has fixed and mounted 2 new theatre lamps at the hospital to augment service delivery.
The lamp is the second eye for us, for both the nurses and the doctors when you are doing an operation. You have your own eyes, but when you are operating and you go into a cavity, a body cavity, you will not be able to see clearly. And it's like walking in the night without a torchlight. We have to rely on these lamps that we have, and at times we use our phone lights. There are times you would have to ask 2 or 3 people to help with their life.
The cry for help from the medical superintendent of the West District Hospital, Dr. Benjamin Amiyuri, on March 5, painting a mental picture of the challenges they go through using mobile phone torchlight for medical surgeries as a result of a malfunctioning theater lamp. As Senior Acheampong puts it, the cock belongs to an individual, but its crew belongs to the whole community. The passionate appeal made by Dr. Amiyuri is therefore not for himself or for the hospital, but for the almost 100,000 residents in the district that, in terms of poverty ratings, is among the 5 poorest in the country. The theater light at the hospital had not worked for almost 2 years, and doctors depended on mobile touches to be able to perform surgeries on patients. When Joy FM broke the story on the Super Morning Show, the millions of listeners cringed and could not believe what they were hearing. Many of them pledged to contribute monies to buy the theater lamp for the hospital, which was valued around 35,000 Ghana cedis. In the middle of the program came the Edward Wachi Trust Fund, and they pledged to pay the full amount of the 35,000 Ghana cedis. A pledge they later redeemed in less than a week, and the money paid direct to the accounts of the West District Hospital. Joseph Adongo is the administrator of the hospital.
So we sent out requests for quotations, and a number of suppliers responded. I think about 5 or 6 of them responded. And in fact, we gave a very long period for them to respond because we wanted to get the best.
The West District Hospital has been able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. What the authorities here at this hospital has done is to add an additional 4,000 Ghana cedis to the 35,000 Ghana cedis that was provided to them to buy the theater lamp. And so they had 39,000. They bought 2 lamps, one which is rechargeable and which is a halogen bulb, and the other one which is also non-rechargeable and which is LED. And so these are the balls that they have at their disposal, and already they are having the old one, which was functioning, which has now also been repaired. So
let's remain other parts of the country because the Roads and Highways Ministry says they are racing against time to complete works on the Sawla-Bawboi Highway, part of which was split and washed away after floods in the area. Now, Roads Minister Acheampong promised early last week that a temporary bypass would be completed in a week, but that timeline has elapsed. Commuters have been forced to use canoes to move from one side of the road to the other. We'll hear from a Deputy Roads and Highways Minister on what has caused the delay. First, listen to the Minister, Acheampong.
Boli Sola-Wa is being considered. A contractor is scheduled to work on this stretch of road before this unfortunate development occurred. So what we have to do now is even to speed up. So within a week, we are going to establish this road temporarily. We are doing a bypass for vehicles to access the road within a week, and we have put everything in place.
Now listen to a Deputy Roads and Highways Minister, Thomas Mbomba, who explained that technically that one-week deadline could not have been met due to the situation of the terrain.
What we have seen so far, we have confidence that by the close of the week, we will open the road to traffic. Actually, one side of the road can be open to traffic. If you look at what the technical man explained, though the minister assured the Ghanaians that we were going to use 1 week, but per the explanation the technical people have given, it is a clear indication that we couldn't have done anything per the water level. If you look at the depth of the valley, when the water is at a higher level, there's nothing we could do. That is why the people couldn't start as the minister predicted. When I also came, I saw that some life jackets were given to the people to be using. And we've seen that the public is not using, those who are commuting are not using the life jacket. So I want to appeal to the people over here and anybody that will be crossing while we are working today to be able to use the life jacket. But we don't want to hear of any casualty in the event that the person did not use the life jacket.
Well, residents want the work completed with urgency.
We are suffering. See, the government promised us. Look at what it's going through. See, what we eat is even a problem. We are business students. Others are business. We are doing business. Look at Sawla-Bawboi. No. This is the business we do to eat. And this is what our parents, our old women, here is a place to pass to go and get into our small money to eat.
From this road, about 40 years now, we didn't see that. That's our twice. The first is the first bridge. We break, we do it. And this one there is marvel. So, and this one is stepping us.
We return with Showbiz. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Faustina is in studio with Showbiz. What do we have?
Carlos, it's great to be back.
Yeah.
Today, I like to call it Lyrical Wall. Two musicians at each other's truth. Well, we'll find out who's telling the truth and who's lying after the show ends. But first of all, let's start with Kwame Eugene. In an interview with Amiel TV, he claims to have written 80% of Mr. Drew's new trending song, which is Case. And he says he hasn't been paid for it. In fact, he alleges that he has sent Mr. Drew countless messages, which he has blue-ticked him, and refused to respond.
Wow.
Let's listen to him.
Interesting point there.
So, well, a few days after Mr. Drew actually released Case, he had an interview with my colleague Becky, and he claimed he wrote the song himself. Well, let's let him speak, yeah?
Funny enough, the song is like 3 years old. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it's like 3 years. I wrote the song 3 years ago, and I never put it out. But I kind of got a song, a beat from MOG. Big shouts to MOG. He's always hooking me up with like crazy beats. So I got that beat, and the progression was perfect for that song that I wrote then. So I kind of like picked everything from there and then put it on the new beat by MOG, and then yeah, people loved it. I dropped a snippet and people loved it. So I decided to do like an original version featuring Sistefia and then Strongman, and that came out. And then I also decided to do the remix with Mufti after the open verse challenge. Yeah.
Interesting, Carlos.
So who is telling us the truth now?
I don't even know. At this point, money is involved. So I feel Mr. Drew should just send him some money and then it's
some
over.
Momo level.
Yeah, some Momo level, because really, 80% of the song, I don't know who's lying, but then tell me who you think is lying on our social media handles. Join us on TV. Now, Carlos, I'm sure you've been accepting some MCing gigs recently.
Yes.
You haven't?
Yeah.
You know you're supposed to pay tax on it.
Okay, I read that in the news, but I don't know if MCs and bloggers are also supposed to pay taxes.
Yes, they are. In fact, GRA is hard on it. And since they made that announcement, you have to declare each time you go for a gig, if you're a blogger, if you're an influencer, if you have a YouTube channel running, you have to declare, and then GRA will have to come for their tax. It's a big business right now.
How are they going to actually make this
visible
work?
I don't even know. First of all, you have to be honest. You have to declare. You have to say, okay, I've gone for this gig and I've made this money. Then GRA says, okay, this is my share. But then there's a whole conversation about if this is even practical. And so some influencers and bloggers, they've been sharing their thoughts about it. Listen.
We do pay taxes on the monies that we earn from the various platforms that we operate, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you earn money, whichever platform, they tax you. So this is not something new that they are. But the thing is, I don't understand how the dynamics day for this one. I don't know which people they consulted. I don't know the tax net. I don't know the number of people within that frame. Now let's say content creators in Ghana. Which type of content creators are you going to tax?
I don't mind being taxed, because I mean, definitely once you're making and creating value, the environment is creating value for you and providing you value. Obviously, you pay your taxes. It's just mandatory on anybody and everybody. In this specific case, it's just a question of clarity. So as I stand here at the moment, what I'm waiting for is just to get clarity on this news that has come up.
But I actually have one problem too. So if influencers are to be taxed, or event organizers, promoters are to be taxed, what are they using the tax for? Will they account for it? Because at the end of the day, this government is receiving tax from every angle, from restaurant, COVID tax, every angle. But what are they using the tax for?
So you heard Kojo Shelton, Kabatima, MC, and Nikayami. So the big question is, what are they using the tax for? Well, GRA has been offering some sort of clarity.
MCs, influencers, no. The existing tax laws make provision that anybody who earns income in Ghana is supposed to declare these incomes and pay taxes on them. So there is nothing like a new tax that is targeting this category of people. It is something that is already there, but we have seen that they are not complying to these provisions in the tax laws. We just want to draw their attention that so far as they are earning income, they are supposed to declare these incomes and pay the appropriate taxes on them.
That's Dominic Nate, who's Chief Revenue Officer at GRA. So, amazing stuff, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to be looking forward to see how all these things.
So please, when next you call me for an MC gig, please add the GRA money, I beg.
And you have to go and declare. so the government
Wait, no, you add the money, we'll declare.
All right. Thank you so much, Fosti. That's all we have time for. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. Business Prime or Prime Business is up next.